Okay, so if you watched from the very beginning this morning, good morning, good morning. If you watched from the very beginning and you saw my face appear, it's because I went to reach out behind my head. I shaved it this morning and I realized that I missed a trail. And in the process of doing that, I pushed the wrong button. But that's okay. We are here and it's Monday. Welcome everyone to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live on Facebook where we take a look at what you've been up to, what I've been up to, what you've read, what I've read, what you've done, what I've done as it relates to Puerto Vallarta. And we combine all this information so that we can better connect with our city as a community of English-speaking locals. I hope you had a great weekend. I had an amazing weekend. I had a great adventure that I'm going to tell you about. And of course, today is July 3rd, Monday, July 3rd. The countdown to my birthday begins. Yes, I'm having a birthday later on this week. And I don't make a big deal out of them, but because it's my birthday, I'm going to do some wonderful things that I'm very much looking forward to. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. As always, if you are watching live for the first time, it is very wonderful to have the opportunity to give you a nice little welcome. So feel free to let us know by writing the word new, and we'll be so happy to give you a nice little welcome. If there is something that's really pressing on your mind and you want us to make sure that we don't miss it, adding a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment helps a great deal for me to find those comments later on. Today we have all kinds of news. Let me set those up in front of me and let's get started with our news block with hurricane/tropical storm Beatrice, which came and went over the weekend without major consequences beyond the much welcome and much appreciated rain we felt throughout the weekend. Weather authorities expect remnant rain during the beginning of the week. We don't have anything forecast, any new tropical anything for the rest of the week, but I took a peek into Windy earlier today and I can see some donuts forming in the ocean. They haven't named them or otherwise acknowledged them officially, but I am sure there will be more hurricanes and tropical storms coming up in the future. Meanwhile, this is great news. On Saturday, we reported on the Rio Quale and the Rio Pitillal, both local rivers, recovering their streams as they meet the ocean. And today we learned from Tribuna de la Bahía that thanks to the weekend rain, water began accumulating again at the Coapinole Lagoon, which clearly refuses to go away. It is worth recalling that the lagoon had been completely dry since April, and it is comforting to read that even though there is barely a couple of centimeters of water in it at present time, some ducks and turtles are there to enjoy it. hopefully, and I mean truly hopefully, the authorities will develop some kind of plan so that the lagoon doesn't dry again after this season, because it's such an important source of fresh air for people living in Pitillal and surrounding areas. In other news, Luis Villaseñor, director of Puerto Vallarta Tourism Bureau, informed that Puerto Vallarta expects to welcome over 2,000 national and international flights this month, which is approximately 64 flights a day. When you consider that the airport does not welcome planes after certain hours at night, that's a ton of flights moving into the airport during operating hours. And of course, 2,000 national and international flights this month is slightly over 300 more flights than we welcomed last month. So much for those who do not wish to enjoy our city during the summer months because it's too hot or too humid. I'm just happy to see that there is a lot of activity in that front. And lastly, Colonia Cinco de Diciembre residents are denouncing a major tree removal operation presently taking place at the Comisión Federal de Electricidad, or CFE, the company that provides us with electricity. The trees are home to a number of raccoons and endemic wildlife, and according to the article, while the CFE seems to have a permit to expand their installations with a new substation, it is unknown whether they have an actual permit from the Secretary for the Environment and Natural Resources to do the actual tree trimming. According to law, you must request a permit to do so, and you have to pay for the right to cut the trees, and then you have to donate other trees in kind. Now, you're probably wondering, well, this is nobody's business because it's private property, but just so you know, and for the record, let's say you happen to spot a next door neighbor trimming a tree, and you go knock on your next door neighbor's door and say, hey, what the fuck? And your next door neighbor tells you, well, this is my private property. I can do whatever I want. The actual law indicates that if your neighbor does not have a permit to trim that tree down, your neighbor is failing to follow the law. So would I advise knocking on the neighbor's door? No. Would I advise reporting the neighbor to the proper authorities? Absolutely. And that's just food for thought should you find yourselves in that unpleasant situation. Now, let's take a quick look at the weather just to see what's going on for the beginning of the week. Snarky Weather says, Storm Father, rain starting at around 11:15. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. In the meantime, we have 28 degrees out there right now. Feels like 34 because humidity is high at 87%, and our numbers in Fahrenheit degrees are 83 Fahrenheit right now. Our weather forecast says that we're going to have partly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 61%, a high of 32 and a low of 25. Get out those umbrellas. Tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms possible throughout the day with a chance of rain of 66%, a high of 32 and a low of 25. And then Wednesday, we reach hump day with mostly clear skies in the morning and thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 74% and a high temperature of 32 and a low of 25. So we are back into the wet and humid days, and I am loving every minute of it. I hope you are too. Before we continue, I want to acknowledge two wonderful people. They are Randy and Karen Soulier from Windsor, Ontario. If you watched our Saturday broadcast, we celebrated Canada Day, and I wore a cap, and I was waving some flags and whatnot, and I mentioned that these were gifted to me during the last meet and greet. Unfortunately, and shame on me, I couldn't remember who did it, but fortunately, Randy and Karen reached out to me over the weekend to remind me that it was them. So thank you very much, Randy and Karen. I will hold on to my Canada Day accessories until next year, at which point I will gladly wave them again. Although the baseball cap, it was pretty comfortable. I may actually wear it before then. So, um, I do have an interesting adventure that happened to me on Saturday afternoon. I hope you don't mind me sharing, but this was really, really well. Not well. I suppose it was fun. Anyhow, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had finished doing the show notes and whatnot, and I was having a cuddle time with Luna on the bed. She was lying on top of my tummy, unfortunately, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came this very, very loud bang, which made her jump. And not before she did, she buried her claws into my chest, which reminded me that I should trim them. Anyhow, Luna ran away after we heard this huge uh, explosion, and I managed to catch a glimpse of a flash out on the window. And I thought, well, wait a second, that was really loud, not loud enough for a lightning, but definitely loud. So I got up to look out the window, and I saw that the nearby transformer had exploded. And so I quickly got my phone, and I filmed it because it exploded and it was sparking. Like, check this out. Scary. So the thing is sparking. Needless to say, I have no electricity at home. And I'm thinking, oh shit, it's really hot out there and I have no electricity. What's going to happen? And so I figured, well, no electricity. I'm going to take a nap. So I took a nap. And that was wonderful. Thank God we could feel the wind of the tropical storm Beatrice. So I was getting wonderful fresh air coming into the room. And then I woke up and I figured, okay, well, that was lovely, but what's going to happen next? 2 o'clock came by, 3 o'clock came by. By 4 o'clock, there were some people from the CFE examining the damage. And I figured, okay, so this is over. But no, they looked at it and then they left. So I figured, well, hopefully they'll come back. Maybe they just went to get some spare parts or something. And they came back at about 7:30 or 8 at night. I can't remember the exact time. By then, of course, the wind was not blowing anymore, and I was starting to get concerned that I would have to spend the night without any ventilation and fans and whatnot. And I looked out the window when I took that photograph, and I could hear them say something along the lines of fried iguana. So apparently, an iguana must have been cavorting around the cables and whatnot. And this happens a lot when iguanas or squirrels decide to go climbing cables that they shouldn't. They get fried. So we had iguana flambe. And the good news is that maybe half an hour after I took that photograph, sometime around 8:30, electricity came back. And that was the end of my weekend adventure. Fortunately, nothing went to waste. And other than that, I had a really wonderful weekend. But I had never seen, unless it was in a movie, I had never seen a transformer spark and make that sizzling sound. That was not pretty. The end. Now, I want to share some news that I found this morning on Banderas News. First of all, I was so happy to see a feature on local mural artist Misael Lopez on their website. I've always admired his work, and it is nice to see. Oh, fuck. Of course, I didn't put the proper photograph, and I'm just noticing that. Can I fix this while we're in the middle of the broadcast? Unfortunately, no. I can't. I failed to put the Misael photograph. Oh, no. Anyhow, Misael does wonderful murals out in the city, but I came to realize after reading this article that he can also be hired to paint beautiful murals inside your home. And the photograph that I would have shown you is one of Misael's creations in a bedroom in a condo. So if you feel like you would like to spruce your walls, you may want to reach out to him, and contact information is available on the article, which also features a few before and after photos of his creation. My apologies for not putting the photograph there. I ended up being so obsessed with that Nickelodeon hotel that we mentioned over the weekend that maybe my subconscious self wants to spend the night in a SpongeBob suite or something. No, actually, I don't think that's the case. Something else that I found on Banderas News this morning was a nice update from the Purr Project, a local nonprofit no-kill feline shelter just north of Puerto Vallarta that provides homeless cats and kittens oh my goodness, a healthy stay. Recuperative. Who uses that word? I just typed it and I'd never said it before. Okay, here we go again. It's a no-kill feline shelter just north of Puerto Vallarta that provides homeless cats and kittens a healthy stay, with the ultimate goal of adopting them out to loving homes, sterilized, vaccinated, and disease-free. So anyhow, there's an update on the Purr Project on Banderas News if you want to have a recuperative time learning about this project. Recuperative. Who came up with that word? Seriously. And with that thought, seriously, let's get into chit chat mode to see what everybody's up to. Good afternoon, David from Boston. Hello, Claude. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Karen, Sly, Albert. I know you miss me, but you are afraid to acknowledge it. I don't care. I miss you too. What? Hiya, Paco. I sent you a short video of our mama and baby deer. Oh, I will look for those. Thank you very much, Sherry. I haven't checked my mail this morning, but I will certainly look for those. Thank you very much for sharing. Spencer is in Denver. How fun. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I read that. Oh, this gave me the feels. Claude had to pull over in Paso Ancho not to miss the show. I love you, Claude. I miss you. And oh my God, Claude sent me more videos of critters from his house in the mountains. Apparently, he got a shitload of bugs that were attracted to one of his lamps. And, you know, if insects were on our diets more frequently, I'm sure we wouldn't have a problem with world hunger. Let's see what else we have. Doody-doody-doo. Lots of comments. I don't see. Oh my. What? Jeff, otherwise known as Gayoff, is in Canada. What are you doing so far away? Of course, Gayoff. Well, I call him Gayoff, but we call him Jeff. Jeff and his partner Ricardo are one of our community partners with their bar on Olas Altas. It's great to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you watching live in a while. Let's see what else we have. There's a cue from none other than Logan. I also understood that flights to PVR were capped off after a certain time of night, but we've welcomed some guests this month that flew in from Montreal on a midnight flight. So maybe that rule has been eased a bit. I totally agree, but actually, Logan, I'd be surprised if there were flights coming in like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But I think the bottom line is it's nice to know that the airport is busy, that flights are coming in, and hopefully they're coming in with a lot of people that have come to discover that while the heat and humidity and rain can put a damper on things, no pun intended, you know, it is still fun to be here during the summer months. It really is. Then I see your comments. Yes, I totally agree with you, Sherry. Poor iguana. I felt worse for the iguana than I felt for myself, considering the fact that I might have spent a whole night schwitzing, which I didn't, and that is a great thing. I think we are done. I think we are done. Albert does mention, I love Misael's work. I have one of his paintings that I got last trip. There you go. So if you're looking to spruce your walls, find yourself a mural artist here in town. There's Misael, but there's a couple others that do spectacular work. Anyhow, this brings us to the end of today. I am so excited for this week because I have all kinds of new surprises for you that I'm working on and that I'm going to unveil this coming Saturday. Why Saturday? Because Saturday is my birthday. So there you have it. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for being part of our cluster. That means a lot to me. You know that. And thank you for staying in touch, staying kind, staying healthy, and staying cool. I will see you again tomorrow.